I'd like to acknowledge that we and our guests are on three territory, home to Wabigoon Lake, Ojibwe Nation, as well as many other communities, including the Métis Nation. We recognize and deeply appreciate their historic connections to this place. We also recognize contributions of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people have made both in shaping and strengthening our communities and province and our country as a whole. Before I begin, I would like to say a few words. To members of council, staff, and the public, over the course of the last few months, the Township of Ignace has been lucky enough to have been invited and attend a variety of conferences and meetings. These have taken place in Toronto, Ottawa, Edmonton, Thunder Bay, and coming soon also in Vienna, Austria. At these conferences, Township Mayor, council members, and staff have not only attended these functions, but have been highlighted, asked to speak on panels and tell the Ignace DGR story to thousands of attendees. The Township of Ignace is now one of the most recognized communities in the nuclear industry sector. But it doesn't stop there. The township has also been recognized, praised, and covered in media stories around the world. That's right, folks. Countries around the world are covering the Ignace and Wabigoon Lake story, and we are receiving accolades from colleagues and communities for our great bravery and courage to be involved in Canada's first DGR project.
Oh, fuck off.
Most importantly, we have met with ministers at both levels of government who continue to encourage, support, and rally on our communities towards the successful next stage of this multi-billion-dollar development in Northwestern Ontario. Tonight, I wanted to highlight this to council and make the brief public statement because it matters. Attending these conferences, meetings, and staying active and engaged with the industry and government will continue to keep Ignace upfront and present for when support and assistance is required. It allows us to tell our story, and it's an investment that will bring many returns to our community in the future. Attending these sessions allows our community to place our most important message of solid rock, solid science, and solid choice forward in a thoughtful and meaningful manner, and allows investors, developers, and future bidders to NWMO that Ignace is ready and open for business. Thank you. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Call this meeting to order at 6:06. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Notice a motion.
Yes.
I would like to vote on bringing a KDMA multi-minister meeting in the next few weeks.
Okay, and where will that go? On the agenda. Oh, we have to vote to, if we're gonna, okay. I vote yes.
What is a KD?
North District Municipal Association.
Okay, and we want to do what, sorry? I want to discuss the possibility of a multi-minister meeting.
Gotcha. Yeah. You're okay? Yeah, okay. So where will that fall under?
Is John in? Okay.
He is.
Oh, okay, great.
No,
Okay.
no, we can discuss tonight.
Yeah.
He.
I mean, where will it go?
8.2.8,
No.
or do we discuss it? No.
No,
Under 9. No, there's some motion.
okay,
Okay.
I did.
We
Thank
said
you.
okay.
Thank you. Okay, so I need a mover, please. Councillor Lett, seconder. Councillor Defield. For the motion to approve the agenda with the following addition.
That council for the corporation of the Township of Ignace approve the agenda of the regular meeting of regular meeting of council 28th day, 2020, April 28th, 2025, as amended.
All in favor? Carried. I can't see Counselor Taddeo.
And I was texting her without any,
Okay,
I didn't think I got to,
okay. Okay, declaration of disqualifying interest. Any? None?
Can you hear me
Um,
there?
Yeah, can now.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Thank you.
No worries.
Approval of the minutes of the most recent meeting. So we have a motion to approve the minutes. Can I get a firster, please? Mover, sorry, Counselor Lit. Seconder, would you like to second that, Counselor Taddeo?
Sure.
For March 24th, 2025, regular meeting of council and April 9th, 2025, special meeting of council. I have one comment. On page 2, when we ask for, the March 24th. Okay, so, the recorded vote, I'm, last on that, and on all of these, I'm first, so I just wanna make sure that I go at the last. Whenever there's a recorded vote.
Actually, it's in alphabetical order, I was reading it.
You read that?
Yeah,
Oh,
just, I mean, but it still probably wouldn't be right, but.
okay. Okay, that's all, that's the only comment that I had.
So we're not.
Because Counselor Taddeo brought it to our attention that the mayor votes last if there's a recorded vote, correct? Counselor
Yeah.
Taddeo,
Sorry?
I said that's correct, is that not right? When we
think
have
so.
a recorded vote, I'm asked last, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's all I wanted to bring forward for that. Okay, so did we get a mover?
No, yep.
Okay,
That council for the corporation of the Township of Ignace approves the following minutes of this regular meeting of council of April 28th, 2025 as
presented. All in favor? Carried. Consideration from previous minutes, non-delegation, 6.1, Grace McDonald, Luminix Group. Okay, and I believe she's online, is that right?
Hold on, unmute her.
Okay,
There you go. Grace, can you hear us?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
yes,
We can, yeah.
Wonderful. I'm very happy to be here on behalf of the Lumex Group to present the findings of your community risk assessment. I don't know if you have it there on your screen or if I'm going to.
I could probably get you to share. In this,
she would share it.
I could potentially bring it up and share it for you.
If you could do that, I would appreciate it.
We have it on our screen. We have it on our
yeah,
Yeah,
package.
just for
okay.
people online.
that's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, give me 1 second here. I'll see if I can make that happen.
I think if she shares it, like.
If let me make sure that I don't have anything. Oh,
Oh, perfect.
so if you want to just let me know when you want me to change slides, I can do that for you.
Thank you. If you could go right to slide 4, then we'll, oh, you know what? You have the entire, that's not the
Yes.
PowerPoint presentation. That's the entire community risk assessment. We'd be here all evening.
We would be.
Page 88, I think.
If you want to share yours, I can give you sharing privileges.
Okay, if you can walk me through how to share it, I'm happy to do that.
Okay, so just let me stop sharing and then I will.
I apologize. We use Teams and I'm not as familiar with Zoom, but
Sharing. So all you have to do is at the bottom of your screen, it says share.
Mm-hmm.
If you share, it'll ask you to, which screen you want, because you'll have multiple documents to choose from.
There we are. Choose screen 2.
There you go.
And you can see it. Well, that's wonderful. So thank you. We're going to start right into the meat and the potatoes of it, if you will. So just to give a little background, a community risk assessment really identifies and examines which threats a community is most likely to face. Ontario Regulations 37818 requires all municipalities to conduct a community risk assessment every 5 years. It also requires each community risk assessment to examine 9 community profiles, and they are listed on this slide. So the geographic profile, the building stock profile, your critical infrastructure profile, the demographics of your community, hazards that exist in your community, your public safety response entity profile, community services profile, your economic profile, and your past loss and event history profile. So our approach and methodology was this. We had a startup meeting, and then we had some stakeholder engagement, and certainly, thanks to the fire chief, we ask for a tremendous amount of data. And once we collect all that data, we're able to begin to analyze it and then send a draft and then a final community risk assessment report. So just a little bit about how we determine the risk involved in the community risk assessment. We use an Ontario Fire Marshal's evaluation criteria to determine the likelihood levels. So first we need to determine how likely is this risk to occur in the community. Then we determine what the consequence levels of the risks that we've identified might be. And again, they would range from very low to extreme. And then we input the likelihood into the likelihood consequences into the risk matrix to determine the severity of each risk. And you can see the scoring that we have used for each and every risk that we identified. The way it broke down was the largest risk to the community, which scored 138, which is a very high risk, was forest and wildland fire. And I don't think that's likely a surprise to anyone in the room. The next risk was road and highway incident, followed very closely by rail incidents, severe weather events, fire in commercial occupancies, fire in assembly occupancy, and these two actually scored the same. Fire in industrial occupancy, fire in residential occupancies, critical infrastructure failure, aeronautical incidents, and rescue incidents in remote areas that actually scored very low. For each risk that we examined, we wrote a risk treatment plan. I really just want to focus on what that is. So with a risk treatment plan, we identify the risk, and then we give you a way to either avoid or eliminate the risk, mitigate that risk, accept the risk and take no action, transfer the risk to another party. So this would be where the responsibility for that risk is actually shared with other organizations or agencies. And share share the risk again with another organization or agency. So the top 5 risks and risk treatment plans that we looked at, the number 1 risk, as I said, is forest and wildland fire. And the way to mitigate that risk is to enforce Ignace's open air burning bylaw as required. Use your official website to provide public education about forest fires and the municipality's open air burning bylaw. Use your website to facilitate public education. And there is a program called Fire Smart that is available for municipalities to use through the Ministry of Natural Resources. and ensure the department's personnel continue to receive grass and wildland firefighting training from a recognized training provider. So that's our number one risk. Number two, and again, we're going to try and mitigate the risk, and we're also sharing that with those responsible for the actual roads on which these events occur. So again, ensure the department's personnel receive ongoing training about vehicle firefighting, auto extrication, and hazardous materials responses. And certainly now they need to receive ongoing training about responding to incidents that involve electrical vehicles. The next risk, the next risk was rail. So again, there's some responsibility for rail incidents that go to the rail provider. However, what Ignace can do is continue to request and review information from the rail service providers regarding the type of cargo that is being transported through the township, and work with the rail service operators and external partners to coordinate emergency response duties. And the next risk that we looked at was severe weather event. And again, to mitigate that would be to continue to provide public education about emergency preparedness and the importance of the 72-hour emergency kits. Certainly recent events in our province would lead us to believe that 72 hours is perhaps not enough, and we should be looking at certainly double that for emergency kits. So accept that risk and continue to monitor for signs of severe weather in Ignace and offer applicable services as required. Work with your external partners to implement public education initiatives about emergency preparedness. The fifth risk that we examined is fire in assembly occupancies, and it did score actually exactly the same as fire in commercial occupancy. So they both scored an 80. And this is because there was one fire in an assembly occupancy in the last 5 years in Ignace, but there was actually luckily no dollar loss. There were 6 fires in commercial occupancies in Ignace in the last 5 years. And there was, there was 1 fire in a commercial occupancy in Ignace in the last 5 years, and there was a dollar loss of $50,000. And following those 2 risks, so risks number 7 is fire in industrial occupancies, which also scored quite high. There were 3 fires in industrial occupancies in the Township of Ignace in the last 5 years, and the dollar loss was actually $6,350,000. So a significant dollar loss in industrial fires. And number 7 actually is residential fires. And there were 5 residential fires in the Township of Ignace in the last 5 years, and a total dollar loss of $881,000. In the fire service, there are 3 lines of defense. The first one is fire prevention, so code enforcement is what that's all about. The second one is public education, and the third one is fire suppression. So all of these 3 lines of defense are equally important. The Township of Ignace and its fire department has done an exceptional job in fire suppression. They continue to work at public education. And I think where the most room for improvement is in that code enforcement and fire prevention line of defense. So that's fire inspections. So when I looked through the areas where you've experienced fires, assembly occupancy, commercial occupancy, industrial occupancy, and residential fires, there certainly was a lack of inspections to help mitigate those fires. So that would certainly be the recommendation, that a fire prevention policy is put in place that goes a little bit beyond complaint and request. The minimum requirements from the Ontario Fire Marshal's Office is that inspections are done, with the exception of vulnerable occupancies, that they're done at least on a complaint and request basis. And I think when we look at 3 industrial fires and a $6 million loss, it certainly makes the case that more frequent inspections are required in those occupancies. And so the next steps is to review and update your community risk assessment. So review it annually. Your statistics are going to change, your events are going to change. So an annual review is going to help you keep that current. So in 5 years from now, it's not such an arduous task to redevelop your community risk assessment, and develop a process for collecting and maintaining data needed to keep the community risk assessment current. One of the things that we have noticed, and when you look at the entire document, you will see that there is a requirement now for all municipalities to begin to track lightweight construction. And lightweight construction is mainly used in residential builds. It is the roof trusses and the floor joists mostly is where you'll see lightweight construction. And currently, very few municipalities have been tracking it. So putting into place a system where this can be tracked, I am seeing across the province that it's beginning to be tracked through the building permit process. So when someone comes for a building permit, that's one of the questions that's on the permit, and they're being asked if they're using lightweight construction and what type of lightweight construction they're going to be using. And that's all I have to share with you, and I would be happy to hear any comments or take any questions.
I have a comment.
Yes.
I'm the mayor, and my name is Kim, and I would just like to say, what a fantastic report. I was not shocked, but I was pretty excited to see such a big report, and you must have had so many people helping with this report. And okay, so I heard you say lack of prevention. So is this something the fire department would do?
Yes, to you, Madam Mayor. Yes, it is something that is a service that the fire department currently takes care of, and they're currently meeting minimum requirements for inspections. But I would certainly suggest, given the history of the last 5 years, that it may be time to look at a little bit more of a rigorous prevention policy. And again, that level of service is set by council. So, in consultation with the fire chief about what is actually possible, what resources may be required to do more inspections, and then set a policy that speaks to the frequency of those inspections. And again, that may mean that you amend your E&R bylaw if you change that level of service.
Okay, and I also heard you talk about lightweight builds, and I was assuming that the building permits would, like, do they not look after that for the lightweight builds, or is people, oh no, Robert?
Again, through you, Madam Mayor, it is a fairly new process that this is being required to be tracked. So we weren't able to access any information when we developed this community risk assessment. Certainly, if there is information about lightweight construction, then it's something that can be added in. It's something that should be tracked going forward.
Okay, and I also know that, one area on, West Beach Drive, the forestry part, I know we've talked about that in the past. And I think Resolute should be contacted and maybe see if they can do some kind of a cut or cleaning up of that property. Councillor DeFeo.
I believe we have discussed this. Resolute has done what they can, but there is some private occupancy
Oh, okay,
that that we can have that brought back.
yeah, okay. Any other questions?
If I
Yes,
may.
yeah.
Hi, my name's Aaron and I'm the CAO. In terms of when you mentioned, for compliant or, what was it? The one that we needed, to make improvements, it was the prevention. So, and then it would be the policy. So in your opinion, if we were to say, have a policy made here and voted upon as a bylaw, how, if we were to say that it was mandatory to perform, such an inspection on high density buildings, apartment buildings of so many units, what would be an appropriate timeline to perform those inspections? In your opinion?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to the CAO. That is a difficult question to answer. I certainly see across the province, working with municipalities, that they're looking at where their risks lie. So you certainly touched on high density residential, and that certainly is more of a risk than the single family dwelling. So I see annually for high density. I see annually for industrial. Certainly commercial, I might see semi-annually, again, unless there's a request or complaint. The only thing that is mandated to be annual is if you have a B occupancy. So if you have a vulnerable occupancy, the fire marshal has already mandated that is an annual inspection and an annual witnessing of the fire drill.
Councillor Taddeo, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Anyone else? No? Okay, so we're good to accept the report?
Yeah, we don't have to.
No, it's okay. Thank you very much, Grace. As I said, it's a wonderful report. And it'll be, hopefully good, put to good use. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
Okay. Legislative matters.
Hi, Grace.
Oh, sorry.
At the top of your screen, you should be able to see where it says stop sharing.
I'm looking for that. Nice to be.
Maybe I can do it. Here, I'll do that for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too. Sorry, Mayor.
Where's Councillor Taddeo? He's there? Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, moving on, legislative matters. I don't need a mover and seconder on that.
No, for consent.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull, sorry, mover, please. Councillor Lett, seconder. Councillor DeFeo.
Council for the Corporation of the Township of Ignace does hereby approve the consent agenda for the regular meeting of council this 28th day of April and all directions and or recommendations or motions included herein.
Okay. All in favor of that? Carried. Okay, so, on 7.2.4, where that strong mayor powers, I think we should support not supporting strong mayor powers,
I agree.
because I don't think mayors should have any other power than,
It's already been
No.
disputed in the.
Yeah. yeah, so I think we need to support that. To not Okay, is, council in agreement to that? Councilor Tario?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so another question I had, 7.2.12. The Thunder Bay, for Good Community Fund is back for 2025. And I'm just asking, can this go to the school to maybe apply for lighting across from the school? I don't know if it would fall under that, but
Through
for
the,
safety, for the, like, I'm just,
through the mayor, so I'd have to look into this further.
Okay.
To be short with the answer, but I have been working towards a solution. We have a solution for that.
okay,
It's just a matter of, well, getting through with it. Again, I'd have to look what this is, so I could probably, bring a report back, with some more details.
okay.
I add to that. Failing that, can we reach out to the youth groups? And,
Maybe they
Ask-
have,
sorry.
maybe they have something that they
Yes.
would, yeah, okay. Councilor Defield.
To, can we put this grant opportunity on our website so that, and
Oh, yes.
promote it to all our community engagement, including community health and well-being, Ignace Youth Club, Silver Tops. There could be a number of opportunities for the
People to apply,
Yes.
okay. Council in agreement to that? Councilor Tario,
Yes,
okay? Okay, thank you. Anyone else have anything else to pull? Okay. Administrative matters, right? 8.1, new business, Ignace Fire Department report to council.
Right.
8.1.1, sorry,
About 7.4.
Yes.
sorry. Okay, yes, 7.4 committee, 7.4.1 community engagement committee appointments. Mover, please. Councilor Net, seconder. Councilor Manita.
Council appoint blank as committee chair. Further that council appoint the following members of council to the committee. And further that council direct that a youth and senior be solicited for the community. For the committee through a public process.
Okay. Yes, I know Andrew's report. I thought we put 2 council members on that committee.
That was before we were the DGR, so this is the
Oh.
inception of a new committee. Post decision.
Okay. Okay,
Andrew.
Andrew?
So through the mayor, you haven't officially appointed 2 members of council, but it should be noted that both Councillor Lett and Councillor DeFeel have been participating in the meetings, and I believe they're very interested in continuing that.
So is council okay with that, or Councilor Manir?
Can we make sure that the counselors
Yeah.
want to sit?
Councilor Defield?
Yes.
Councilor Net? Councilor Tadio, do you have anything to say?
no, I'm good.
You're good? Okay,
Yes.
Committee
Yeah, the committee chair, how do we do that? How does council appoint a committee chair?
I guess we pick from the members, correct?
I would be interested in acting as committee chair.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, all of council okay with that? Andrew?
So through the mayor, you would normally choose one member of council to be a chair, and the co-chair would be coming from the membership. So you have the list of the 5 present members.
We'll do that.
We did that, okay, that's fine. Okay, so can you,
Okay. So that council appoint Councillor DeFeo as committee chair. Further that, council appoint the following members of council to the committee, Councillor Lett and Councillor DeFeo.
all in favor? All right. Yeah, okay, thank you. Administrative matters. 8.1.1 Ignace Fire Department report to council. Reports from the fire department. Any questions regarding that? Councillor DeFeo.
I would just like to commend the fire department for being available to the community in people's, most needed times. Also, may I direct to the fire department?
Yes.
Are we on track for meeting the provincial demands for the firefighters' education?
Well, yes and no. It's gonna take time, and with everyone working, it's hard to get into courses as needed. We do have some going.
Okay, so is the barriers, the fact that the volunteers and taking time off of work?
Yes, if it was a paid position, that would be different.
Is there any, if we have an opportunity to talk to the firefighters, is there a way that council can support that? The Solicitor General is in particular curious as to what municipalities' stumbling blocks are. And in having conversations with other municipal leaders this week, I did make some guesses, being a working person in this type of role, that we have full-time jobs and we're mostly volunteer-based fire department. So having, times available that would not meet your regular working hours. Also, that I feel it could leave the community vulnerable if our fires all get up and go to an education all at once. This would ultimately, and an ambulance left the community, we would potentially be putting this entire community at risk. So, I felt pretty confident in saying that, given some experiences that I've had. But if there's some way that council can support or advocate on behalf of the fire department, I would really appreciate knowing, so I can have those conversations.
Any input into?
I know in the past, we've had training come to us,
Mhm.
which makes it a little more feasible, but you need the numbers, right? So
Online,
you can only do so much online, right? So-
okay,
We do the online, but there's also then the practical in Canada Falls, the training center. Driving is good as well. But as I said, we can only allow so many to go at a time.
so if there's a way that this council can support that we haven't, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Worship.
Yes?
I just, how long has this mandatory training been on the block? Like, has it been a number of years that people have to, was there a time frame that everybody had to be trained,
July 2026 is when everyone's supposed to be
completed?
completed.
And when did the initial training start?
When they put it in 2 years ago.
Years, and then they kiboshed that one because they had a date and then no one complied with it, so now they're just like another date.
No one complied, you're talking about other municipalities or?
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
We
right.
do have a lot that are grandfathered,
Mhm.
so they don't have to do the firefighter 1 and 2 in certain other courses, but
So you still have about a year to get whoever's outstanding stuff. Okay, thank you.
I have a question. So for that department, is there, do you require a percentage of the firefighters to be trained at any given time? So you watch that with the training? Or you just go for everyone?
There is a percentage that's supposed to be depending on the size of the fire department, depending on the population,
Okay.
whether it's full-time or volunteer.
Okay.
Right, so.
And so is that tiered from fire, chief, deputy chief and down? And are you meeting that, do you find?
I think so.
Yeah, we are meeting those compliance, yeah. we
Okay.
are, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Counselor
I got a
Tadio?
The question I like to ask is, are we gonna be planning any recruitments to try to get firefighters to join the fire department?
That's ongoing, always ongoing, yeah. Yeah, recruiting is always ongoing.
But is there any kind of campaign that we can kind of advertise and, just make the community know that we're looking for people there?
Job fairs on.
Job fair?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe, Counselor Tadio advertise on our website as well?
Yeah, just to get it, just to make it aware, let the community and the people know that, we're recruiting firefighters for the fire department, right?
Yeah.
The chief is online if you want to ask questions to me. I mean, I haven't been deputized, but I am here.
Okay. Counselor Manier, do you have a question?
No, Councilor Tadio covered what I thought was a good idea there, and I'm thinking, you mentioned the website. Well, for the chief there, have you entertained possibility of young recruits, grade 12, grade 11 students?
We had a program at one point where we had firefighters in training. Right now, we're focusing on our own members. It's not that we can't address it, but there's liability issues when you incorporate younger people. They they don't necessarily participate like a firefighter would, but there's an option possibly to encourage high school students to join when they turn 18. We're always considering it. We have to be careful who we hire. We don't want to hire anybody. So I'm a little bit cautious of putting it out there too much. We have to be very selective. But we do consider advertising. We've always thought about that, and maybe now is the time to put out a recruitment ad on the township website.
Okay, thank you. Andrew, would you like to talk about residual MIFA funds?
So through the mayor, I was actually, had sent a message to Roxanne that I would talk about the student bursaries. So it wasn't on this particular issue.
Oh, okay, sorry. Counselor DeJean.
Sorry, Chief Tracy, I can't see who's online, otherwise I would have directed my questions to you. My question to you is, now it's gone from my brain. Because I'll come back to it, sorry.
Okay, any other? No, we're good. Thank you very much, and thanks for the great report from the fire department. Okay, moving on, 8.2.1, deputy chief. I need a mover, please. Councilor Manier in a second. Councilor DeFeo. And I just wanna congratulate Robert on his acting deputy chief.
You're back.
Yeah.
Okay, that council for the Township of Ignace is 20th day of April 2025 approved the appointment of Robert Rubé as acting deputy chief for a temporary term.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, 8.2.2, the grade 12 bursaries, Ignace School. Is this where you would like to talk, Andrew, the residual?
So through the mayor, just,
Hold on
just
a
for-
sec.
okay, sure.
Mover, please, can I get a mover? Counselor Net, seconder, Counselor DQ.
The council for the corporation of the Township of Ignace, this 28th day of April, accepts a letter from the Ignace High School requesting support bursaries for the class of 2025. And further that, council approves blank to the Ignace High School graduates through their early investment education and skills.
Andrew, you would like to speak to that?
So through the mayor, just for council's information, there is residual funds from the multi-year funding agreement specifically for this, so you would have money for bursaries. Also, in your hosting agreement, you have funds for going to reserve for youth education. So if it would pleasure council, we can bring a report back to the May 12th meeting and give you the exact number that you have available, and it'll be a considerable amount of money, if that pleases council.
Council in favor of that? Get a report back? Counselor Tadio?
Yep, sure.
You go with the report back? Okay. Yeah, to the next meeting. Eight point two point three, water and sewage rate increase. Aaron, did you want to speak to that? Oh, sorry, mover and seconder. Counselor Manier, Counselor DQ.
Okay, I guess my question is, I've prepared a PowerPoint presentation to sort of explain how I came up with the calculations that I did. I was wondering if anybody wanted me to proceed with that, if there was any question on some of the documents that I included in the report.
I'd like to see what you've prepared. I don't know how the rest of council feels.
Well, I'd like to see that too. I mean, we're gonna ask for a huge increase here. I think we should go line by line item there.
Okay, I can do that, and I mean, I'm just proposing, this, and it'll be up to council, obviously, for their approval. So, I wish. Okay, I'll just keep this. It's frustrating because it's tucked in behind the report, so give me a second here. All right, so I made a quick presentation. Just to highlight here some of the agenda. I'll breeze through this. Please let me know if I'm going too fast. So, as we know, our water capital asset, if we were to replace every piece of just our water capital assets, it'd be about $23.01 million. That is for today's dollars. However, I'm anticipating it's about 80 years, roughly, because 80 years for infrastructure, about 60 for facilities. So I'm over exaggerating just to reduce the amount of reserve contribution. So in my calculations, as you saw in my report, that I'm proposing, or I'm suggesting, in order to maintain a reserve contribution to receive that $112.2 million, we'd have to put $182,000 a year. So I'll explain how I did that. I did it a little bit differently from the last ones to make it proportional to each year, so it's not front end loaded like you would see in a mortgage, because normally the interest rates are the same. So, Jesus. So obviously there's no holdings, right? Because this is the first year. And calculating a 3% interest rate on that at the end of the year, which would be carried forward So as each year progresses, there will be a 2% increase year over year to compensate for CPI. You would expect that everyone's wages, everything goes up by 2%, so that relative proportion to your wages, so it remains the same year over year for the next 8 years, right? So you can see from the holdings that they're carried forward to the next year, which subtotal there. Again, 3% interest rate, and this is carried forward for 80 years, and you get the 112.2 million dollars. That's how I've arrived to that calculation. So currently, when you're taking away the fixed assets, and you're only looking at the variable is the amount of water that's used in each one of those homes or commercial. We are taking in roughly about $267,300, right? Our total expenditures, however, are $532. Right? Now you can see a large portion at exactly 93%, because I calculated this, is a result of our service provider. I can tell you that over six years, we've seen increases of 70%. And it's been about 21% since last year. So this is the reason, don't shoot the messenger, this is the reason why our increases have been so high. Now, they provide audited reports every year too, because it is the contract, part of the contract, they provide a report, which we're waiting for. It's suspected that their costs are gonna be that high, right? Now, I am working on trying to figure out a way to mitigate this, but at this point, this is where the costs are until we can find a better solution. So you can see, I wanna go back. Yeah, current cost. So you can see that our current contribution or our current rate of return is only 50% of our water. And you can see there that the 182 is the expenditure from our fixed cost. Our revenue from fixed is 300, so that's above and beyond about 3 times the amount that we actually need for a fix. So that's why when I propose that our water usage goes up to compensate for the variable cost, but our fix comes down, right? So really the fixed rate is fixed based upon your actual usage of the linear infrastructure, and your usage is based upon the average per unit of water. Now, this method obviously is quite a better model, provided that we weren't using only 25% of our total usage of our plant, and that's why all these costs are associated, because no matter what, you're gonna have two employees working the water, 2 employees working wastewater, and a manager. Those 5 people are gonna be spread about no matter how much water goes through the plant, right? So our costs are quite high, right? I am looking for solutions, but unfortunately, that's what it is. So in order to do this, I said, again, that it would be a 29% increase to hit the target that we are. I'm not necessarily proposing, I kind of am, but to hit the targets that to be self-sustaining, where it's just its own silo, we would increase it by 29% to 5. I realize that's extremely high. That's just the number that I've arrived at, while decreasing the fixed rate by 18%. That said, in totality, when you're taking in the increase and decrease, we're only increasing the total water portion by 2%. And we still have a remaining bonus of about $1,800. Where we run into problems, however, is the sanitary. You can see that our revenue for residential and commercial is about 120,000, where our expenses are nearly 500,000. Again, a majority of that is from our service provider, And a return is about only 25% of our total expenditures. Right, and that's again, because our service provider is really killing us on this. So again, I calculated the same type of calculation for the sanitary. I mean, we have a wastewater plant, we have linear infrastructure, we have stormwater. That also calculates to a proposed revenue contribution of 187,200, and I'm only proposing 60% of that. So, and mind you, we've already used half of that life already. So half of the beginning 40 years of the life that's the life cycle of the infrastructure already gone. We haven't contributed enough for that. So I'm proposing half of that and then another 60, which is really only about 30% of what we really need to contribute. This is where this really hurts, right? So again, we're still paying on our fixed about 140% of our actual, while only contributing to 25% of our variable. If we were to, again, to fix this where it is, and this is not even where we actually, and you'll see why, if we propose 156% increase, which is outrageous, right? We're still gonna be short about 180,000, right? That's why I didn't move the fixed rate that much to compensate for what is needed to compensate for the variable. That said, with those increases, it is a 60%, 66% increase in total to meet the requirements, and you can still see there that we're still at 10,800. We will have to pull for tax levy, unless we were to make it fully pay per use. This is the situation we're in right now. So, having that information, I think we have to make a decision. Now, personally, I think we should start making contributions to reserve, whether it's this year. I would certainly prefer to start doing it this year, because I think what I'm afraid of is when we get to next year, it's gonna be next year again, and then the next year again. So we really need to really seriously look at this. I know we're getting NWMO money, this has nothing to do with that, right? If we lower taxes now, right, then what's end up gonna happen is people are gonna have cheap taxes. We're gonna burn through that money, right? Generation in the future is not gonna have any money left from that. And we're gonna be burdening them with repairs that they have to do of 116 million.
Okay,
So
I'm sure we all have questions. I know I do. Who would like to go first?
I have more of a statement, I'll go.
Okay.
So currently, we have a community of 1,200 people.
Mhm.
55% of them are age over 65 with no expendable income. 16% of them are age under 19. So we are asking 29% of the population of Ignace to pay for this. I think we need to appreciate that. Just take a minute to appreciate it. 29%. When we say the population is 1,200, that's not 1,200 people with earnable income. So we have 29% of people with non-fixed earnable income that we are asking to pay for this huge hike in water. We also need to take into consideration that we are getting soon a milestone payment that we could kick off reserve funds with. I've been saying this for several months. And when a report comes like this to council, I think it should come on a multi-tier level, not just with the ask that you're asking, but what does it look like without the contributions to reserves? What would it look like? So we have some options and it doesn't just look like this. So I don't support this request.
Okay, so
Oh,
I
that's-
had, okay, go ahead, Councillor Tadio.
Oh, sorry, go ahead there. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't see your hand. Go ahead.
Okay, out of your presentation, I picked up on 2 or 3 things. I heard you say everyone gets a increase. Our seniors don't get a CPI increase. We know that pensioners don't get diddly squat. That's one of my comments. My other comment is, are all users being charged appropriately for the water? And I heard you say that decreased the fixed rate of 18% and increased the other one to whatever it was, 19 or whatever percent. So why would we decrease the fixed rate 18%?
Okay, so to answer your first question, I think given that I want to decrease the fixed rate and increase the variable rate, I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think we are charging people appropriately. I
No,
think
I don't
the
think so.
variable cost should go towards operating the plants.
Yeah.
And the fixed costs go towards replacing the plants in linear infrastructure. That's typically the model that is run here.
Okay.
And excuse me, please repeat your second question.
Talked about the seniors, all about, and the decreasing the fixed rate of 18%.
So
Are all users being charged appropriately? The seniors don't make nothing on their pension plans, and
I mean, and that's the dilemma that we find ourselves
Yeah.
in. So we're decreasing again to make it proportional, right? I'm a numbers guy. I like things in nice fit boxes, tomato, right? If we can, there's a lot of people that have to pay a fixed rate that get charged all year, the seasonals, they get charged all year, even though they're not using that water. So if we lower that fixed rate for them, that is a less of a burden for them, while having a higher usage rate. Who here has the water running when they're brushing their teeth?
I don't
Who here flushes the toilet after they blow their nose once,
know,
right?
no.
Yeah. I mean, we could all, it's easy, we take water for granted and it's expensive.
Yeah, I know. Hey,
Right,
Cal?
and third, I realize that we're in a dilemma here, but the cost are just the cost, right? And if we're gonna, one way or another, it's either gonna be the expense of the people pay or the expense of the people to more.
Counselor Tadio?
Yeah, I got a few questions to ask. First of all, I heard Aaron talk about a 70% increase in our paying out to our contractor. Is that correct?
Yes.
So we got to dig into that and see where that's a big increase. Don't you agree?
Yes.
So we should obviously dig into that and see why we are getting charged 70% more than when we first started up with the contract. I guess that's what you've been saying, right?
Yes, so through the mayor, I have been digging into this for several months now, and I have had meetings with parties. And I've expressed my my frustration with them, and the contract and how it would be so expensive. They are providing a audited third-party report from a credible financial institution or financial, what, BDO or one of those, I'm not gonna say what
Okay,
exactly what it is, but.
yeah.
So, I mean, when the contract says cost plus, right, and they're providing the costs. What other than, having obviously the best solution and one of the solutions we, a lot of towns and cities do, Dryden, for instance, they have their own water technicians, right? So they need a level 3 water operator, right? And once you have a level 3 operator, he can manage the facilities. The problem with that, however, is a lot of the northern communities are also in need of these operators, and they have federal money to throw to make sure that they are compliant. Because if you don't have that level 3, you're not compliant. So the trade-off with having a service provider is the contract, we always guaranteed to have an operator there, so our plants are compliant with the regulations.
Okay, so but they're not the only game, the only game in town either. So there's other people that we can look at to for a better rate or whatever. The thing is, we have to decrease the amount of money we're spending to operate that facility. So there's two ways of doing it. Either we take it over and hire our own people to do it, or we look for other people, other companies to give us a bid on it or whatever, put it out for tenders to take a look at it that way. Second of all, I was also looking at the report that you sent out there, and I was kind of surprised to see that there's numerous people that are not metered.
To the mayor, I don't know if it's new, like there are a number of people that are metered, but it was overwhelmingly that people are metered.
No, not metered, I'm talking about. Not metered.
Sorry, yeah. Overwhelming, like it's, I don't know, I can get exact numbers, it's like low, like there's like 12 to 15.
I was gonna say, I think that shouldn't be surprising. It was brought to council. There's 12 to 15 of them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
so it's all,
and I was looking at the rates, like it was like $365 a year. And I mean, I'm just thinking of myself and,
Yeah.
2-person home, I'm paying $1,200 a year. Anyways, there's an avenue to look there too. And then another thing I was looking at too is the sewer rates for the commercial buildings and that, and like they're $365 a year for sewer rates. So isn't there an opportunity to take a look at that kind of stuff too?
yes. I might also add too, and I did mention, sorry, through the mayor, I apologize, is that another, and I'm chasing this down as we speak, so we know how much water goes out the plant. And now we're in the process of counting how much water is going through the meters. So the difference between those, and I'm suspecting based upon the revenue streams, because I should be able to attach a number to the amount that comes out the plant, that there's about 30% loss. So there's a 30% loss somewhere. And now, of course, at the end of for instance, the end of Superior, where there's no usage, you have to have a bleeder valve to allow the residual chlorine to be accumulated there, so it doesn't create an issue there. Now, you're gonna get a little bit of loss, but 30% loss is quite a bit. So we have leaks, potentially, I don't have exact numbers, but we potentially have some leaks, and fixing those leaks is another way to bring those costs down, because there's chemicals are quite expensive, and to throw chemicals in water that just gets wasted away is costly. Sorry.
And my last question, sorry, one more
Sorry,
question.
go ahead.
Yeah, my last question to the CAO there is the cost that we're collecting for the water, the revenues that we're bringing into the community, is that paying for the facility too?
So their contract includes, so the facility really, like the actual facility is part of the fixed rate as I see it. So technically that facility is not generating a payback from the consumers at this point.
No, so that's what I'm getting at, Aaron. So that facility, what I'm trying to get at is that facility there, right? It's part of the community, correct? It's like the arena and everything. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's like the arena, and it's like anything else that the township owned. So when we first built that water treatment plant there 20 years ago, the facility was paid by the taxpayers, right? And the consumers that consumed the water paid for the water. Do you follow me?
Well, that's what's happening right now. I'm not catching your point.
What I'm saying is the facility itself, is it getting paid by the township, or is it getting paid by the water users?
It's not being paid for at all. So at some point, that's similar to hydro. this is the way that hydro, when you pay for hydro, you're paying for usage of how much power you use, and then you pay a delivery fee.
Mhm.
The way that I see it is we're not paying for that delivery fee. There is no money being collected to pay for our facilities, for our linear infrastructure. That's where that deficit in 40 years, even though I say 80 in my calculations, is there's gonna be a deficit of, it's probably not be 160 mil, it'd probably be half of that, but still, there's gonna be a deficit there. Now, whether there's gonna be avenues or frameworks for us to have a partner in provincial governments,
Right.
I don't know. That has been the case so far. But whether that's gonna be the case in the future, who only knows?
And my last question is,
That was lost.
what about how many people in arrears? How much money is out there in the community still in arrears there, Aaron?
So we are aggressively, I've tasked our staff now, or soon to be clerk treasurer, tasked before her arrival to aggressively pursue people that are paying this. We are polite and not shutting off people's water during wintertime because non-used water can freeze and then cause issues, and if we are shutting off water and it freezes, then we're potentially liable for that. However, I believe not last weekend or this week, last week or this week, we put out notices that people have to pay or at risk of shut off. So normally, it's the same perpetrators over and over again that have to be reminded over that they're falling behind. But for the most part, most people
What's that in the dollar? What's that in the dollar value per year?
Through the mayor, I could probably get that information. Like normally, everyone pays eventually, or they risk not having. I think there's several, a handful of properties that don't have present water available to them. But overall, everyone normally pays, and if councillor would want, I can get more information for him and bring it back to council.
Thank you.
Councillor Defield is next, sorry.
So, you described a 30% water, so I'm just hoping this is to start a conversation, because there's lots of open areas here.
Yeah.
Described a 30% water loss, and we need to investigate before we impose these penalties on ratepayers. So we're looking on the inside. Second of all, we've just been posed with monies to spend on education. A quick glance on Google, it takes 1 year to get a level 4 water certification. So could we not put it out to tender to offer someone an educational opportunity to be this, so we can start investing in our own community?
So we are, okay.
Oh, is it,
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so through the mayor, definitely. I mean, we do have in our collective agreement, people that can obtain their water operating licenses. The trick behind that is you actually have to work in the water plant in order to, much like engineering, you have to actually engineer to gain a license. Now, that's the trick, right? So we would have to tell our service provider, which they've been, in the past have been, granting us, is to offer hours that we would pay for them to work within the proximity of water to get that, those hours in order to get licenses for sure.
and going to the job fair and starting that, or bringing it to council, at least a report where we can approve that, investing in people that live in this community to get certified, to be able to perform these tasks.
And I think, through the mayor, I think even it might be a good opportunity to see if there's any willing participants already within our public works that, have an interest, because there is, according to the collective agreement, a considerable rate, of wage increase for that.
Excuse my ignorance, are they part of our collective agreement?
Who?
The water treatment?
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
Okay,
But in our collective agreement, we do have like 3 levels of water operator that they can get education and they can get their hours, and they can, once they are at that level, then they can start, and there should be an incentive there for them to, 'cause not only would we train them, but they would actually get more.
But also introducing it to the high school kids to start.
A career.
Definitely.
Counselor Let.
So way back when, you had mentioned that, the Ministry of Environment.
Yeah.
This falls under, does the Ministry of Environment require a percentage, a certain number of people per size of plant to work there?
I know at least, I mean, I could get more, if you're looking for exact details, I'd have to come back with a report on
Right.
that. But my understanding at this point, and it could be very well incorrect, is that you at least have to have one level 3 operator and then every one of your technicians to be some level
Sure.
of technician.
Sure, I understand that there's 5 employees right now.
My understanding is too, there could be more. I'm
Uh,
because they're a separate entity,
Right.
just from conversations, that's my understanding, normally you wouldn't want to have one person working alone, just in case there was something that happened, and obviously you
Sure.
want to have a manager there. Usually the manager doesn't put full-time hours into this community, he's usually, he'll spread his time over other community.
Okay.
Counselor Neer.
Oh, if I may,
Oh, sorry.
sorry, Counselor, just to answer Counselor DiFio's
Yeah,
question.
yes.
I am pursuing, working out to find out leaks, so there's this new technology, I might have mentioned it before. It's essentially a pig for water, it's like a tennis ball that spins. Not only does it map the inside of the water, and you can have water alive while it's doing it, but also it uses sonic sounding to measure, and what it does is it measures thickness of the water, of the level, so it actually can tell where the leaks are essentially. So that is one thing that I'm working with our service provider to bring here to see if we can start at least doing some of our infrastructure to find, because if we're gonna start considering construction to beautify our thing, we wanna make sure that our infrastructure is gonna last the next remaining 40 years. If not, if we find that I would be embarrassed to make a nice black surface only to dig it up because we missed something.
Counselor Neer,
Sorry.
do you have any questions?
I don't. There's a lot of information that came out there in the last 10 minutes. I'll ask for some clarifications maybe because I might misconstrued some of the information that was provided. First of all, correct me if I'm wrong, I'll ask this question first, correct me if I'm wrong. If we do not put any money in surplus or in the bank to
Reserves?
make repairs down the road, we're gonna be in the same situation this year, next year, et cetera, et cetera. So the money that you're proposing, even though it's a fair dollar, that's just the start to get us to a point where if for some reason the plant breaks completely down, we have to replace it. Am I correct? And that's what that's all about?
Yeah.
So it's pay now in hopes of getting a new plant or repairs done in the future.
Yes.
Because if we don't, then we may not have the money through the taxpayer or through the hosting agreement to come up with that cash.
Yes.
Okay, all right. In regards to training, you're talking about current municipal employees. And how would that work with the plant? Would the operator right now, current operator right now, object to having our employee go in there and work?
Through the mayor, my understanding is this happened, that we actually had an operator before leaving for various problems that were occurring previously. We had one, and the agreement was provided we are paying for his wage, that they could partake in the activities in the plant to learn and also provide. So the benefit for them is to teach, is to have essentially a worker that paid for by the township that is working on their behalf. From the same hand, we are gaining somebody that's gonna gain those hours and get those designations needed in order to do that. Because not only to even shut off a water valve or to work off a hydrant, you have to, as soon as you touch that water system, you have to have a water operating license.
I understand that.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to make sure that there wouldn't be any conflict or pushback from the current operator.
I mean, I haven't bridged that conversation recently, but I'd imagine that they would be, willing to, continue on with that arrangement.
All right.
Okay.
And then, the further, Councilor Tadio's question, in regards to looking for solutions, I'll be blunt, you're currently looking at another operator to take over if possible, if we have to break the contract because of cost?
That is not off the table. I would rather, I mean, the contract is a 10-year contract and ends in 2028.
I think I would.
And, I certainly don't wanna sour relationships, but ultimately, I answer to you, you answer the taxpayers. I mean, the expenses are quite high. There's always a way to break down our expenditures for sure, but, before I go nuclear, I'd rather expend all others.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but just so everybody's sort of on the same page
Yeah.
that you are looking. All right, and I guess there's one more last thing there. If and when construction begins or the subdivision comes online, there's going to be more usage of water, more pressure on our water system, even though it's probably operating under capacity at this point in time. But it also goes to the point now that if the township expands, whether it's industrial or residential, or I should say commercial or residential, it also makes more sense to have a surplus in the bank to do those necessary repairs or hookups or et cetera in the future, right? So what you're planning for is in the future. Unfortunately, let's just put it this way, and I could be all wrong here, council can correct me on this, but the council of the past didn't consider the council in the future in regards to having money set aside for these types of things, right? So I realize that there is some concern over the price hike, if that even goes, and even if that is, or even something similar to a price hike of some sort. But I think our council members should be considering that this is to help the future rather than keep us afloat for the next above water. Let's put it that way. Just above the water. Anyways, thank you very much for showing.
The way I understand it is, yes, there is some going to go away, in the reserves for future. But correct me if I'm wrong, are we, getting what it's costing us
I got a
right
question.
now? Are we getting, from the users, are we making the money? No, we're not making the money. So we are legislated, are we not, by the government, that your operation of your water, you have to have the users pay for that amount?
I don't know if it's legislated per usage.
I thought it was, but anyways.
I think it would be up to council to decide
Okay.
that normally, and I'm fairly new to this
Okay.
game. Andrew probably touch base better than I would on this, but I would imagine this is just standard for
Yeah.
every municipality to have sort of
Okay,
paper use as much
Okay.
as.
Counselor DeFeo.
So we're gonna bill ourselves for the 30% waste?
Exactly, I know, we gotta fix those problems. We have to fix those problems,
Which at a cost.
yes, yeah. Okay, so what does council wanna, you got the resolution?
A council for the Township of Ignace hereby receives a report entitled Water and Sewage Rate Increase for Information. I've heard that council approves the proposed adjustments to the township's water and water and sewage utility rates effective June the 1st, as outlined in the report, to ensure more equitable cost recovery and reduce reliance on property tax support.
I agree.
Counselor Tadio.
I just want to reflect on what Councillor Manure said there. He says we're going to expand we're going to be expanding the subdivision. Is that what he said there? Did I hear correctly?
Yeah.
So we're going to be expanding the subdivision there for expansion, correct?
That's correct, yes.
So now, do you think it's fair that the rest of the community has to pay for that?
Well, through the mayor,
What I'm trying to get at is do you think maybe we should be looking for other people to pay for that?
so through the mayor, if so, in terms of the capital cost of building the infrastructure, I think we decided coming out of close from the previous meeting that we're gonna have a developer. The developer would eat those costs to install, and then he would transfer those costs through each sale
Of the home.
of the home.
Right.
The usage costs would be each dependently paid for by each individual home on the quantity that they use.
Right.
And in terms of if the council chooses to even a modest increase or even, consideration in future years, that those additional people that are paying those contributions to reserves would actually benefit the town. Because they would part of their contribution would also be paying for the facility and other infrastructure that's attributed to the water systems. So the more people, because we're only at 30% capacity at our plant, the more people that are using that plant, the fixed costs are spread over more people. Now, of course, you're gonna be using more chemicals, but overall, the wages, the transportation, the insurance that's attributed to the water plant, all that would be spread over more people.
So, sorry.
I heard Councillor Net say we have no choice but to approve this, and I just want to say we do have a choice.
Yeah.
We have a milestone payment coming that we can contribute to the water reserves from there. We have the choice to accept this as information only, and we have the choice to figure out where the wastage is going and have a complete report come to council that includes that before we approve something like this.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with
And
you
if we're
100%.
gonna vote on this to pass, I want a recorded vote, please, okay?
Me too.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I
Counselor
apologize.
Manure.
I'm looking at, just one more question before we do go onto our legislative business here. I just have a question here, because I'm not familiar with the cost of water, because I'm not on the town water. So I have a few questions. Do you know what the average use is? Like how many cubic meters of water are being used by the public by, let's say, one household?
Through the mayor, it really depends. I have heard people use as low as one individual using as low as 4 or 5 cubes at a month. And I've heard some families using as much as 20, 25 cubes.
Okay, so your numbers that you're quoting here is $5 per cube.
Yeah.
And you wanna raise it 29%. The 29%
Yeah.
is the thing, so obviously if people decide to, if this should fly, or if it doesn't, shouldn't say should fly. If this was true to form, persons, say a family of 4, let's say they're using 20 cubic meters of water, so I don't know what the math of 29% is on that, but, it would be substantial, not, or would it be
That'd be, so 20 cubes would be for $100.
$100?
So that would just be for water, then the sewer would be another $100.
I see, okay.
And then the fixed rate on both of them as well. So it'd be quite, sorry, I'm not gonna lie, this is a substantial, this is probably, there was a comment saying that this is probably the highest rate proposal in North America.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I haven't done much research, but it is quite high. But I'm just pointing out, and as Councillor Dayfield said, there are other solutions here. You can turn this down and give me direction. We can, there are some, I'm passing a budget next month, hopefully. I would at least like to make the adjustments, so maybe there isn't any contributions and we consider this next year, but we do make the balances that usage actually pays for itself. I wouldn't want to do is start pulling from the taxpayers' tax levy to subsidize people's water. That way, people with higher assessment values would be subsidizing people's water that have lower assessment values but have higher usage. So that there is that other side of that coin that should be considered also.
Okay, so,
Can I just clarify, my
Councillor
statement that
Bear.
was overheard by Councillor DPO to, we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice to obviously look at this and look at this very, very seriously. And consider all the components that go into it, what resources we can pull from. And how we got here in the first place, so it doesn't repeat itself. The education to the public for usage is paramount, obviously. Right, so that's all I want to clarify.
I got a question.
okay, so I think I'm hearing, council say, let's fix the problems of the water waste that's, maybe from the leaks or whatever in the pipes. And I believe you're looking after that. So let's fix that. I'm also hearing, pull the money out of the milestone payments for this year.
Bringing that back. to
And-
council.
You want it to come back to council?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're also,
Yeah, Councillor Tadio.
we also want to know what we can do to reduce cost.
Yes, okay.
And if that's investing in education and staff and youth to make sure that we have a treatment plant that's completely functional within the community.
And if we have to have a special meeting to deal with this so that you can have the figures for the budget, then we'll have a special meeting.
Yeah.
Okay? All in council's in favor of that?
So we're deferring this, vote,
Yes.
or defeating it. Cause this motion is asking for what you're proposing.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's defeated, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
And come back with a read.
yes.
So then we'll
Is everyone in favor of that?
in favor of what?
In favor of it coming back and defeating this, what has been asked?
The 29th.
Should we not have a vote to see whether or not we're gonna approve this, and if the vote says no, then it automatically gets kicked over,
Okay,
right? So,
okay,
show of hands.
so do you want a recorded vote?
No, I don't, I'm not asking, I'm just saying
No.
we should actually have a vote
Okay,
on this as presented. And if it's defeated, it's defeated.
okay, so all in favor of,
In favor.
sorry?
All not in favor.
No.
All not in favor of accepting this resolution.
Can I ask then, if we defeat it, how's it brought back?
With his report and the new resolution.
Okay.
So I
A
believe.
new report.
New
I
report.
mean, I mean, you guys would, I'm assuming you've come to a consensus to provide me with direction and I can do my best. I mean, it might take a little bit of time before I get a comprehensive report that's gonna outline some of the requirements that you're looking for. But I can certainly, if needed, I'll reevaluate what the actual cost for operating is. And then we can proceed there.
Council in favor of that?
That's not what we're voting for.
So you have to read the resolution. and
Okay,
ask
read the resolution.
favor of resolution.
Council for the Township of Ignace hereby receives a report entitled Water and Sewage Rate Increase for information. I've heard that council approves the proposed adjustments to the township's water and sewage utility rates effective June 1st, as outlined in the report, to ensure more cost recovery and reduce reliance on property tax support.
I'll take a recorded vote on that, please.
There's nobody in favor, John.
Okay.
A recorded vote.
Yeah, we still got to, whatever.
Yeah, we still gotta go through.
Yeah, we still, yeah.
Okay, Counselor DeFeo,
No.
Counselor Lett,
No,
Counselor Manier,
no,
Counselor Tadio,
No.
Mayor Bakery.
No. Moving on, 8.2.4, the refuse collection and landfill fee increase.
Okay, so
All movers, please. Counselor Net, seconder, Counselor Tadio?
Sure.
I'm assuming that for purposes of saving time, rather than going through the same, which is gonna provide the same calculations, the same conclusion. Do we just want to, for myself to proceed, the cost, okay, so the cost structure is a little bit different here. The costs haven't been increased since 2021. So they are quite low. Bag tags are $1.50. For myself, I use a bag every 2 weeks. I'm just one single guy. Even with the increase of $3 per bag tag, that's $78 per year, which is quite cheap. Now, there are some things in there like using the bins for doubling the bin cost for businesses. There are some consequences for that, obviously, towards the business, which would have that snowball effect where business would have to pass those prices on to customers. So I can go through that presentation if you guys are wanting to see. It's a similar scope and scale with that, but I'm imagining are we gonna do the same conclusion as we have before?
the other mitigating factor would be that, if we can get a recycling, program, that obviously cuts down on the number of, bag tags needed.
Yeah, so through the mayor, my hopes that last year I was in talks with the province that is mandatory making. So right now, you're paying 10-20 cents more for each time you're purchasing something that can be recycled. That goes to the company, at which time they are being mandated to recycle their own waste. That opportunity hasn't come to Ignace. I was hoping it was gonna be this year when we're having this conversation, because then we would have a direct substitution, as they would call it in economics, where you would say, hey, we're gonna raise the cost of this so we can get some money back, but then you also have the option of recycling. But we don't have that. We don't have that this year. Maybe this is a better discussion to have next year. So from what I'm hearing, we're supposed to get recycling next year.
I got a question.
Counselor DeFeo, hold on a minute.
I just have a couple, so I know that I've asked for this before. When there's a variance in the budgets, I would like an explanation. So why is the variance there?
So,
If
oh, sorry, go on.
so that I would find that helpful, so I can understand why when we thought it was this, it was actually this.
Definitely.
So explanations when there are variances greater than 20%. Also, I don't see the cost change request. I don't see the,
So, yeah, so I'm,
do you know, like, I don't see like where the bag tags are going up and how much bins are going to cost and those types of things in this report at all.
yeah, so there are, through the mayor, to answer your first question, there is a variance, historically, and I would, part of my PowerPoint presentation, I would, one of the key points in that PowerPoint presentation is to identify that we have a public works employee who is almost every day working at the landfill. Some of the hours and equipment time hours are at the landfill, but those hours were being coded to the public works. That's why our public works was so expensive to get our highways, our roadways, our other work wasn't. So we've recently instituted that they start coding when they're working on the road. They're coding to the road, it goes right to that account. Similarly, to sewer, to water, and landfill. So you'll see that there is quite a big increase in wages there. That is to accommodate for the public works employee working at the landfill. And you'll see when I give my budget, hopefully next couple weeks, that you'll see that the cost for public works has actually gone down. To answer your, sorry.
It just, that type of information in a public document is exceptionally helpful for me,
Yeah.
but also for the ratepayers.
Okay.
So if they can understand, well, there's 100% variance in this, and where is this actually coming from?
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to make guesses, and this came out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, now to Monday, until the handful of us can get an explanation, and people are speculating, having conversations. So it's just way more transparent to put the variance in the document when it comes out for the very first time.
Okay. And then I believe you had another question.
Yes, I did, and I can't remember what it
I
was.
can't remember.
Do you remember what it was?
Counselor Taddeo? Oh, sorry.
There's no pay structure. You say, okay,
Oh,
this
yes,
is what
so-
we're gonna do here, and this is what we're gonna do there.
Yeah, so there is a number of different varying things depending on, you know, if you're dumping off garbage in town versus out of town, there's bag tags in town, out of town.
So I know there's a number of different things, but where is that here?
Well, so it would be exhaustive for me to provide that, other than just saying it would be 101.
So just a blanket statement, you can go ahead and increase this however you see fit to meet these numbers?
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
okay, well, I mean, there, again, through the mayor, these costs are coming from somewhere.
But I need to understand how we're getting the money. I can't just say, well, just get the money however you want to. I understand why the costs are there. I know how it works.
Yeah,
but
well-
I need to understand how we expect to get it, not just go get it.
Well, I mean, okay, well, I'll bring a report back and it's gonna, and unless we're gonna change our minds on what it is that we want to see, if the page structure is gonna change. You know, there is a number of different varying items there to be exhaustive in the work that I am falling behind on other jobs. Right, where, you know, the bin in town is $1,200 now, it's gonna be $2,400. I mean, it's gonna be a rate hike of 101% all the way across. So, I mean, does it really matter that you know the bin costs of $1,200 versus $2,400?
Well, there's one that's outside of the community. Should that one cost more? That would be
It already is, through the mayor, it already costs twice the amount of money.
So maybe attach the previous bylaw so I can know what the costs are.
Excuse me.
Counselor Taddeo?
Is it all right? Can I speak now? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what I like to see? I looked over that budget there, and what I'd like to see is talking about reduction. How can we save money? What do we got to do to lower the cost of operating that facility in Ignace, right? I don't see that. And that's what I like to see. Is it cheaper to privatize it? Maybe we should privatize it. I've been on council 4 terms and we privatized it. The years that I were on council, it was privatized. 2018, I remember we paid $145,000 to a company to pick up all the garbage in Ignace per year. And I look at the rates there now, and it's like 300,000. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember what I was reading there today, but I do recall. Are we paying like $20,000 a year for medical benefits there, Aaron, too, for those part-time employees?
Mayor,
I think we want to discuss employees. We can't discuss employees.
Well, no, but it's in the budget. What I'm trying to get at is, what I'm trying to say is it's in the budget. It's public knowledge. It's been printed. People can look at it. What I'm trying to get at is we got to lower cost instead of always going for the taxpayers and asking them for money. We got to figure out a way to reduce cost, what we can do to reduce cost. And we might have to privatize the garbage to get picked up again. We have to have a comparison. This is what's going to cost us to hire a contract. This is what's going to cost us to do it on our own.
Yeah, okay.
to the mayor, I mean, my memory serves me right, I believe we were just talking about taking back privatization from our water and sewer. Because it was too costly, so I would imagine the same result would be from picking up and somebody managing our.
We don't know that though. We don't know that until we put it out and find out and do the homework, the legwork on it.
Yeah. Okay. Councilor Minier.
Maybe Councilor Taddeo could correct me on this, but one point, as he says, at one point in time, there was a private contractor that was in play to pick up the garbage. And I'm not familiar with the numbers that he's quoting, but I do believe the following year, if not within a couple of years, the private contractor was removed and the township decided to go with their own employees as a result of costs.
No, it wasn't a result of cost, Mr. Munier. That was
Okay.
Councilor Munier.
That's what I'm
Okay.
asking. That's why I
No,
asked.
it wasn't account of cost.
Okay,
Why
Thank
was,
you.
why was the contract removed then?
We'd have to have an in-camera session for that.
Okay, all right, thank you. So anyways, just going back to this, we do have to look at reducing costs, there's no doubt about that.
Mhm.
But on the other side of the coin, how much money are we willing to not collect to reduce costs? And I'm not familiar with the garbage bins, but I mean, 100% increase for bag tag, and I'm just working it out in my head of what I have to put into the garbage. It's not a significant raise to keep our dump in operation and keep our dump in the black rather than the red, but obviously, if we're looking at recycling, that will obviously drop down on the number of tags or number of bags that would go to the dump. So, here again, we're back in the situation where the township has flowed along nice and smooth, with the taxpayer picking up the cash, but, picking up the tab. But now expenses such as, expenses go up, wages go up, gas goes up, everything, government, everything, we have to pay X number of dollars, whether we're on a pension or not, to the government to make sure our services are still applicable. So, and I know we're gonna talk about this, and I'm gonna assume that this is gonna probably be sent back for another report, but we do have to be mindful that somewhere along the line, we're gonna have to bite the bullet and agree to some type of increase. So, but at the end of the day, how much, that's gonna be up to us, but we can't keep going to the well and drawing water out of the well. I'm not replacing it. Anyways, that's all I wanted to ask. Thank you very much.
I think this council should increase bag tags. I mean, just my opinion, they haven't increased in 4 years. You said 2021?
Yeah.
Other communities, Red Lake pays 250. Just throwing that out there.
To the mayor, like as it is right now, I mean, we are in a deficit of about 40,000 that would have to be paid for by taxes from the tax levy.
Saying that, and that does not put anything into the reserves.
And that's what.
And we have nothing in the reserves, but there should have been something in the reserves, but we won't go there. From the past.
And this, through the mayor, this is not just isolated with landfill or water, right? We're also talking about our fleet.
Mhm.
We're talking about our arena, we're talking about our admin office, we're talking about every asset that this township owns should have reserves built that's gonna replace it in some time. Otherwise, that money is gonna either have to come from
Okay.
somewhere.
Okay, so what does council wanna do?
I have one more
Councilor
question.
Davey, yeah.
How much monies are owing into the dump?
So there are, I can definitely look into that.
Cause I believe it's over $40,000.
It could very well be.
Is that included in this as a deficit or
No, so.
it's not included at all? So then the dump would actually be cash flow neutral.
So. Again, like, and through the mayor, you make a good point. You'll see in my budget that there is old debts that are not being paid that are above 6 years old that we have to write off. That's gonna be about 25 grand and some of those, and to bring your point, maybe we need to add a GL code here to speak about what exactly is attributed to the dump. I know that we have some projects coming up and we've been discussing with the public works manager that we have potentially some material that is coming through a contract that will potentially be paid after the materials deposited. And we're kind of nervous because there's been instances where contractors have built a debt up and stiffed us for it.
That's another issue, okay?
But I can definitely bring back a report to identify exactly what portion of 6 years plus, 6 years minus is attributed strictly to the landfill.
And.
Are we also gonna get it, are we gonna,
Hold on a sec, Councilor Tattoo.
In the water and sewage report, the revenues created through the sewer, is that included in that report as well?
No, I can look that up. And put that in that report. That'd be an interesting tidbit of information. I would. I can't
Okay.
imagine Australia more on that, but I can definitely add that to the report.
Okay, can I get a mover? Can you read that then? Oh, sorry, did you have another question, Councilor Taddeo, before we go to the vote?
no, the only thing I want to do is, what I want to look at is, we got to take a look at the community and see what's efficient for the community. We got to take a look at and see where we can reduce cost. We might, you know what, we have to go to the public and say, here, if you want your garbage picked up every week, this is what it's going to cost you. We might have to go to a different avenue. We might have to go, maybe we have to be like Kakabeka Falls and they take their garbage to the dump and it doesn't cost them anything to bring it there. Like, there's different avenues to look at. We got to look at those kinds of things. We just can't keep going to the taxpayers for money. Like everybody says, 60% of the population is on a fixed income in Ignace, you know, and you're asking a couple $100 here and a couple $100 there and a couple $100 there. They're not getting a 2% increase every year.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay,
Okay, by council for the Township of Ignace received the report titled Refuse Collection and Landfill Fee Increase for information. That council provide direction on the preferred percentage increase, collection and landfill user fees to support improved cost recovery and long-term financial planning for operations and post-closure obligations. And that council for Township of Ignace approve an increase to collection and landfill user fees totaling 101% effective June 1st to achieve full cost recovery for operational expenses. And that a dedicated reserve contribution of $140,000 be incorporated into the 2025 landfill budget to fund future costs related to landfill capping, 50-year post-closure environmental monitoring, and the eventual acquisition and development of a new landfill site. And further, that staff be directed to prepare an updated fee schedule and amend applicable bylaws to reflect the approved changes for implementation. All in favor? You're in favor?
Yes.
I'm not in favor of 111%.
We'll take a recorded vote on that too, please.
Okay. Counselor DeFeo?
No.
Counselor Lett?
No.
Counselor Manier?
Yes.
Counselor Taddeo?
No.
Counselor, Mayor Bakery?
No. So there has to be a report on them. Right.
Okay.
8.2.5, the hosting update. Andrew, did you want to speak to this?
So through the mayor, yes.
Oh, mover, please, mover, sorry. Counselor Lett, seconder. Counselor DeFeo.
The council for the
Andrew.
corporation of the Township of Ignace accept the hosting process report.
All in favor?
I'm here first.
Okay. Andrew?
So through the mayor, just a few of the highlights of the last little while with the hosting team. Members of the hosting team and the couple of members of council and the CAO attended the Canadian Nuclear Association conference in Ottawa. It was a lot different than last year. Ignace is really on the map, and it's really quite good to see. The mayor was invited for a personal meeting with Pierre Tremblay, who is the president of the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission. The delegates went to some special events. It was interesting that the mayor of Peace River had a meeting with us regarding their possible bid for a nuclear reactor, which is really interesting that we're now becoming the experts. And one of the other highlights was Laurie Swami's talk on NWMO. In her keynote address to the 1,700 delegates, or a very large portion of them, she did use our phrase solid rock, solid science, and solid choice, and that drew quite an applause. We also attended a meeting with the Canadian Association of Host Nuclear Communities. So there was connections made with Deep River, with Bruce County and other municipalities, and again, including Peace River and Pickering. Mayor Foster was there from Clarington, and Mayor Skinner, who we have quite a relationship with, Penawa. So it was a good meeting. Also during that time, the implementation committee did their first in-person meeting because it was convenient to do in Ottawa. So that was Councillor Manier and the CAO. So there will be highlights of minutes coming to council eventually as they progress. And our things are really taking shape for the community open house on May 17th. We've got the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission coming, which is really good. We have the impact assessment folks coming. I did meet with Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission on the weekend, actually, at an event, and they're really looking forward to coming up to Ignace. So that's really good. We're working on a Learn More tour with the Canadian Nuclear Laboratories and also the town of Deep River. And we did have a quick meeting with the mayor of Deep River, and we have been in communication with the Canadian Nuclear Laboratories on several occasions on that. So we'll bring more information about that in the future. And that's my basic report for the last 2 weeks. Do you have any questions?
Andrew, you said the 17th, it's the 13th for the open house.
Yes, at least I wrote it right in the report.
Okay. Any questions? You did that?
I did.
Okay, all in favor of accepting the report? Okay, carried. 8.2.6, hiring students during summer. Mover, please. Counselor Taddeo, will you move
Sure.
it?
Sure.
Counselor, your second.
That council authorized the hiring of 2 summer students for landscaping and lawn maintenance, and subject to available funding, a 3rd student to assist with tourism services and records digitalization. This funding would be allocated from the youth community training budget.
Okay, Counselor.
Who is going to be overseeing these students?
So in the public works sort of division, it would be recreation, so it would be, Wayne
Okay.
would be the ultimate manager, but with the assistance of some of our arena attendants.
Okay.
So the arena attendants would assist in delivering the cutting tools for lawn maintenance, organizing.
The other question I have, unfortunately, in the past, there was equipment lost, and it was attributed to students, whether that was factual or not.
Yeah.
So is there gonna be an equipment inventory and equipment, who was given the equipment and then an inventory back?
Yes, we can do something like that,
Okay,
and then have the arena attendant, transport them around,
right,
give them a description, what they want. The only thing I said that a student will not be operating a riding lawnmower in the cemetery,
great,
because that's too much stuff in there.
okay, thank you.
Counselor DeFeo.
When we apply for the grants, is this the maximum number we can apply for?
So I applied for 2 students for the 3 months. That was several months ago, a month ago. I haven't received anything back. That would be an extra bonus, for.
Is it the maximum amount we can apply for, or you think this is what we could monitor under our current?
So from my understanding from when reading it, it was only 1 student I could really apply for, but I applied for 2. So that was my understanding of how, and it didn't really say it was limited to 1, but it was really the language within the itself was sort of, it said like identify what the student's gonna do rather than the students. Little nuances like that made me believe that there was only 1 student, but I applied for 2 anyways.
And I think the unions only allow us.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So is that new? In the past, we've hired 6 to 8.
That one time we did that, and then the year after that, she's like, that's never happened again, so. And it can only be landscaping, right, just something that's.
yeah, and I think, through the mayor, I think right now we have a pretty good relationship right now with them, provided, I mean,
That's
mind
the
you.
question, is this the maximum amount we can?
My understanding is that is a yes. I think even having that 1 additional student, knowing that we have it, like it with sort of tourism. I think we could sort of wiggle that. I can maybe, wiggle that in. This is, and I've identified in here, there is funding through the youth and engagement sort of, there has been, included in the budget. There is, as Andrew specified earlier in the meeting, that there is quite a bit of money there, dedicated for strictly that line item. So $20,000, I think is a good investment, not only in getting engagement from students in, potential, future employees. But not only that, we're gonna have a cost saving for rather than having our, and I would also, I am asking for that additional student, because we do have a lot of our documentation that is in hard copy. And I really, and you'll see in my budget, I'm actually proposing to have a plotter. And I mean, we can, and when we get to that point, I can find the cost value of it, whether we pay for somebody to scan it versus we scan it ourselves. It's for the big documents. And we just digitize all our documents that way, you know, because paper only lasts for so long. So I think that's a very valuable thing to do, and it's a very difficult job. I mean, it's not a very valued job, it's quite horrible. But we would mix that up with the student, with other activities, so they're not only just doing work jobs, but.
Okay. Any other question? Okay. Read it, all in favor? Oh, I read it again? No, you read it. All in favor? Counselor Taddeo, you in favor of the students?
Yes, I am.
Okay. 8.2.7, appointment of clerk treasurer. I need a mover, please. Counselor Manier, seconder, Counselor Lett.
The CAO recommends that council approve the formal appointment of Leslie Sterling as clerk treasurer through bylaw 14/2025, being a bylaw to appoint a treasurer, and bylaw 15.2.25, being a bylaw to appoint a clerk. All in favor? Carried. No? Welcome, yes, sorry.
Thank you. I already said
On you
it.
now.
I already said it a few times to you. No?
Yeah, here you go.
Yeah. Welcome aboard. Okay, leadership issues, 9.1, notice motions, Jody.
Hold on, hold
KDM. Yeah, sorry. KDMA.
So the KDMA is setting up a multi-minister meeting to discuss the increasing cost of policing, which again, the formula has not been presented for this year, so we don't even know how to put that into our budgets. And the contributions for seniors' long-term care coming from the unincorporated areas to balance with municipalities. So I am asking this council to consider sending the Kenora District Municipal Association to participate in those meetings.
Okay. Oh, it comes back, does it, in the next meeting, or?
No, okay.
We can approve it now? All in favor of sending Jody?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Can we ask what kind of reports are coming back, oral, can you come back with written reports, statistics, things like that?
You want the motion from KDMA? I can give that to you.
No, once you go on, once we approve you on this,
To go in there.
do you come back with?
So I'm going to present a minister report. I can give that to you.
Yes. Okay. All in favor?
So it would ask that council approves for Councillor DeFeo to attend the KDMA
No,
No.
multi-minister meeting with the KDMA.
with the KDMA. Okay.
And if it aligns with,
Do you know what date that is?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
It's just for like the approval that I don't even know if I can attend because we don't know the dates.
Okay.
But if it's short notice, then we have had the discussion now.
We're approved to go and multi-minister meeting. Okay, all in favor of that? Okay, Counselor Taddeo, you're in favor?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, bylaws for consideration, 10.1, bylaw 14/2025. Need a bylaw to appoint a treasurer, clerk, treasurer, yes.
Okay, Luber.
Mover, please. Counselor Manier, seconder, Counselor DeFeo.
So this is just passing the bylaw from the report from before.
Okay.
By Council for the Corporation Township of Ignace, this 28th day of April 2025 does hereby approve bylaw 14/2025, being a bylaw to appoint Leslie Sterling as the treasurer for the Township of Ignace.
All in favor? In favor, Counselor Taddeo?
Yes.
Thank you. 10.2 bylaw 15/2025, being a bylaw to appoint a clerk. I need a mover, please. Counselor Manier, seconder, Counselor Taddeo?
Yes.
That council for the corporation of the Township of Ignace is 28th day of April, does hereby approve bylaw 15/2025, being a bylaw to appoint Leslie Sterling as the municipal clerk for the Township of Ignace.
All in favor?
Carried.
In favor, Councillor Tadio?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's it. Now we're going to closed session, correct?
Is there something after close? Because I'm obsessive compulsive, I have to see the end, so. be
No,
open about that.
No, close is not gonna be that long either, I don't.
And I think it's all for discussion.
Yeah, it is.
There's nothing coming unclosed.
No,
There you go.
yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, Brad. Have a good night.
You do.
And if something does, I'll call you.
I don't think it's
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
For your contribution, I'm sure.
Okay, we need to move on. Please.
Huh? Oh, yeah?
Jody, yes, we gotta go in. We're in a second there. Yeah, after, yeah, it is.
Councillor DeFeo.
Councilor Luther.
Councillor Leonard.
That council for the corporation of the Township of Ignace convenes into the closed session of this regular meeting of council, the 28th day of April, chaired by Mayor Bakery at 8:13.
So there's 327 municipalities in Ontario. 9 of us are in the Canadian Islands. We're all in the top 20 now. 6 of us are in the top 10. And maybe 2. We don't want that.
What's the minute for?
What's that?
It's,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
it belongs to all of the Canadian. Islands.
Yeah, you are.
I just wasn't
You
sure if
are-
it wasn't till the end, and like
If there's
until the
any-
next.
No, no.
meeting.
If there's anybody that's gonna.
So it's not- Are we? They
So-
don't know if they're. It's not quite. Enough is like, none of us have a leasing cost for 2025. Kind of bizarre.
I'll be
It is because.
It's going outside.
Before
Yeah.
that comes,
For 5 minutes.
you're looking for,